Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits, certified torta pounder. Bye, bye. In real life. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled. This Vegas, this one is for you. Shout out to Vegas, man, and all the support I've been getting lately, man. I can't say, hey, they've embraced me with open arms. Okay, I don't get down like that, but they've embraced me with open arms, and I respect it, man. Thank you guys. So I've exclusively been keeping you guys updated on the Manny situation, the Sincity Manny, the Vegas shooter, Manny Wise, whatever name you want to give him, give it to him. It's not like it's going to matter. He's going to be locked up forever anyways, right? But I've been asked a lot of questions. And one of the questions I get frequently asked is, why am I doing this? And it's because it's the most intriguing story of the year. It's the most intriguing story. And it kind of hits home to me as a content creator. And I got access and action at talking to people who are close to Manny, who were close to the situation, who were involved to some degree in a lot of the trolling that was going on, a lot of the he said, she said, the back and forth. And I could tell you, as the deeper I get, the more doors open, right? The more people are willing to converse about a situation that unfortunately ended in murder. It ended in an execution style murder on the Vegas Strip. And it's kind of crazy that people have just overlooked this story and just let it go, when there's a lot more intriguing aspects of this story that are put out there. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I can't say because at the end of the day, it might have a bearing to the case. I'm just going to let it play out. We're going to see if Manny Wise's public pretender is able to dig as deep as the gun has been able to and uncover some of these intricacies, these details, these ins and outs of this case. Now, again, it's an open and shut case, meaning Manny's done. Okay, we know now that the death penalty is on the table, meaning, okay, for the people that are uneducated into law, meaning that there is that option when he is sentenced, okay? Doesn't mean that he's ultimately going to get the death penalty, okay? But there is that option if this trial plays all the way out. Now, more than likely, when it's a death penalty case, the man that's going through the situation, who's stressed the fuck out, who's looking like R. Kelly with beads in his head, or who's looking like Diddy with the gray-ass beard, usually it's a cause of stress. It's a cause of turmoil. It's a cause of a situation where only that man has to sit on that empty bunk in that rack that night and decide whether he's willing to take it to the caja. Now, with Manny, it's a little bit of a different situation. The narcissism, the ways of Manny that a lot of people are focused on are saying that he's going to do it as a part of his show. He's going to do it because that's what he always wanted to be, a star. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, his star is dimmed. It's over. Okay? There will never be another YouTube content creation type style of whatever he had going on with Manny. Doesn't mean that he can't get a phone or get some type of tablet and still do his thing from inside, you know, the prison situation, the prison cell, because there has been people known to do it. You know, Flacco, from a convict's perspective, if you're up on him, got incarcerated, got a 15-year term in the state of Arizona, and for a while there continuously put out content. Now, it wasn't the best content he ever put out, but it was very in-depth. And for those that were intrigued by the prison situation, you could look into it and see it for what it was. Now, with Manny, whether that's what he's going to do or not, right now, that's the least of his concerns and worries. What he really needs to be focused on is his life, because his life is in jeopardy because he put his life in jeopardy. Don't blame Finney the Legend. Don't blame Bubbly. Don't blame all this other crew that Manny had around him that were actually aggravating the situation and assisting him in what he was doing. blame Manny, because that's all there is to blame. See, when you do a crime, you do the time. When you go out there at night with the gun, or you go out there to gangbang, or you're looking for an adversary, or you're hunting for someone, and you're doing all these different things, you need to go out there with the understanding that it's a 50-50 chance and you could end up on a 50-50 yard. Meaning, you go out there with all this weaponry and with this fucking bravado and this gangbanging attitude, and I'm a gangster and I can't be touched, and guess what happens? You ready? You get touched, or you touch someone else in an aggravating manner in a bad situation, and guess what? You get touched with handcuffs, and now you're looking at time. See, no one wins in these types of situations, because it's always going to be this: someone ends up getting hurt, and someone ends up getting locked up. And believe me, that hurts. That actually hurts more than the victim has to go through. The victim goes through that terrifying point of realizing that their life is over, but then boom, voila, they're in a better place. Your life carries on, and it carries on in a more worse situation than ever. And you put yourself there, and there's no one you could thank, or no one you could congratulate, or no one you could hate on, or no one you could be mad at but yourself. Manny is suffering the consequences. So I was asked a question, and let me give you guys some game. If you looked at the thumbnail and you believed that Manny was Dp'd already, I'm here to tell you he was not. Not quite yet, right? And I'll tell you why I don't believe he's going to be Dp'd at all. Now, of course, he's in the county jail. The county jail is a little bit more mellow than prison, but there are a lot of aggressive fights from time to time. You know, I fought in the county jail. I don't know who goes to the county jail, and doesn't have to fucking defend yourself. See, one thing about the county jail is it's a cesspool and a breeding ground for a lot of anguish, a lot of hopelessness. There's a lot of guys in there that are fighting their cases. You got drug cases, you got gang-related cases with gang members doing their thing and politicking. Then you got dudes that are facing a long time. Usually the guys that are facing a long time, people kind of stay away from them and let them focus on their case for one thing or another. And here's the one thing and not the another. The one thing is these guys already have a lot of stress. They're already going through it. They got hair triggers, meaning they're quick to fucking get off where they're mad at. And a lot of them being that they're fighting murders and Buck Rogers dates, right? Those that have been locked up know what a Buck Rogers date is. But because they're fighting all these different cases, people tend to leave them alone. Like, hey, man, that Vault's in there for some heavy shit. He's in here for some heavy shit, man, right? So they kind of back up and let him do his thing. That doesn't mean they can't get touched either. That doesn't mean someone might not be having a bad day that day and decide that you are that one. And it happens like that in jail, and it happens like that in prison. You don't necessarily have to step on someone's boots, disrespect someone, aggravate someone. You don't have to do any of those things. You just have to be you, and someone could take a look at you and say, you know what, I'm going to sock the shit out of this motherfucker today. And that's usually how it goes down. You know, a lot of people say that a lot of the fights and a lot of the murders that happen in prison are behind disrespect, but most of the time they're behind just someone having a bad day. A lot of the times, you know, you can have a bad day and be like, you know what, I'm going to set this yard down. I'm going to sit it down. I'm going to set it off. And so you instigate and instigate and instigate until eventually, guess what? More than likely you get sat down, put on your pockets or whatever. So I was asked a question, will Manny, Sincity Manny, be Dp'd behind these murders of Finney the Legend and Bubbly? Okay, I'll tell you guys this right now. No. He could be beat up. He could be jumped. He could be maimed. You know what I mean? He could be garnered by a gaggle and grabbed and done bad things to. But will he be jumped for the specific reason of murder or unaliving Finney, the Legend, and Bubbly? And the answer is absolutely fucking not. No. Why? Okay, when you go to prison, there's good cases and there's bad cases. And the community and society's laws and rules don't apply anymore. They don't count. What's going on outside of them prison walls or them county jail walls does not matter. If you go into a jail situation or a prison situation and you have bad charges or a bad case, yes, if they don't segregate you and put you in protective custody, you will be hurt. And it doesn't matter if it's a California system, a Las Vegas system, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, Chicago. If you have a bad case, more than likely, now, and it depends on your ethnicity, because we're going to get to that too, will you be touched, right? If you go in there on some fucking kiddie charges, yeah, more than likely someone's going to do harm to you. If you go on there where you're beating up on old women and doing bad things like that, yes, that's a bad charge. Someone's going to do something bad to you. And then again, some different counties, some different states, some different prisons, charges like DV, which is domestic violence, can be a bad case, or certain other things that not necessarily in the state of California or even the state of Nevada for that point, right, are considered bad. But we all know what bad charges are. You know, SA, any type of that weird stuff, man, you're getting fucking rammed, homie. Ram man, He-Man, Ram man, right? You're going to get the man at arm. You're going to get fucked up. You're going to get, and it's not even a DP. Let me explain to you what it is. It's just a good old get the fuck off the yard. That's what it is. Now, in Manny's situation, in behind them walls, he actually does not have a bad charge. He unalived 2 grown adults, a man and a woman, that he had beef with, that he was going back and forth with, that had disrespected him in the past, and he had disrespected them. I'll tell you guys this. This is the way it works in jail and in prison. And this is the way it's going to work for Manny until he dies. In prison, it's about disrespect. Okay? And it's about respect. And when you're a 2-time murderer, okay, and the crime revolves around someone disrespecting you, if it ain't a child, and if it ain't a teenager, someone young, congratulations, homie. That's how they feel. Unfortunately, for Finney's family and for Bubbly's family, I know that hurts to hear that. I know it seems like, you know, that's taking 2 precious lives and just throwing them away like they don't matter. They absolutely do matter. And that's why he will get life without the possibility of parole in prison or death, because their lives do matter and their blood is crying out, and justice will be had. But as far as him getting unalived or getting jumped in prison behind that, no can do, homie. It's not going to happen. They don't care about the precious situation of the lives. That in jail and in prison, it's status, right? It's respect to go in there as a murderer. Believe it or not, I know to society that sounds crazy, that sounds psychopathic, but that's what jail and prison is. You know, it's a place for no compassion, for the ultimate respect, and it's racially driven and it's gang related and it's political and it's all that, but what it ain't is soft, and it ain't apologetic. They're not going to apologize for what he did. Okay, that's up to him to deal with that in his life and realize that he messed up and he made a bad situation worse. But they're not going to jump in DP Manny because he killed Bubbly and Finney. They do not know who Bubbly and Finney are, nor do they care. All the guys in there care about is their own situation and what they're going through. And hey, where's the next fucking bag of carga? You know what I mean? That's it. They're not tripping on that. So no, Manny will not be DP'd. I seen some guy, he asked a question. He was like, he's probably going to get DP'd. They're going to jump on him because he did this, because he killed a woman. Look, unfortunately, women are not off limits. I hate to say it, man. There's a lot of men in there in prison right now that are sitting down doing all day plus another day, right? Because they caught their wives or their significant other cheating on them. You know, let me tell you guys a little story about my cellie. I had a cellie. He was an OG. The type of OG that when you walk in, you know, it ain't no, I didn't say OGZ. Rocket in this. I didn't say OGZ. I said OG. Veterano, a vet that could dance underwater, not even come close to getting wet, right? This dude was old school, been down for 50 fucking years already by the time I walked in the cell. Damn near almost a 70-year-old man, right? And I knew, right, walking in that cell, like, this is a respect factor. This is a respect factory, right? You got to have the ultimate respect, man. And I had been doing prison time. This wasn't my first rodeo. I'd been in the youth authority. I've been in prison, plenty of cells. Wasn't my first term. I was in on a violation, right? But I knew just the way he had that cell set up and the way he carried himself. Now, this motherfucker right here, he went to business, right? He's with the business. And I walked in, and it was kind of like that movie Felon. All right, I'm going to be the good old veterano, right? And he started running me down on the cell etiquette the way he liked it. And, you know, he wasn't disrespecting. He was like, look, you're just doing a little bit of time. I told him what I was in, showed him my paperwork. He showed me his. I said, oh, wait, right? He was in for double homicide. Same thing as Manny. What had happened was he found out that his girl was cheating on him with another guy. They were at a club, a downtown club in San Jose, right? I think it was called Club 54, 55, something like that. It was old school, right? Studio 54 or some shit like that. Anyways, this man walks directly into that club, with a 357 on him, right? Doesn't get searched at the door. This is old school. None of that shit. They were too busy fucking doing coke in the bathroom. He walks right in and unalives his wife and her old man right down the dance floor. Boom, boom. He caught life without life with the possibility of parole, but they seem to not fucking be wanting to let this man out. He didn't go to the yard and get jumped on for that. People said, hey, that's right, homie. You handled your business. She was disrespecting you, and you felt it necessary to take her out. So Manny is kind of the same situation. All right, he wasn't getting cheated. He had nothing to do with Bubbly. That was Finney's wife. But because of the disrespect, because of the back and forth. And I know there's a lot of people say, well, the disrespect didn't warrant murder. No, it didn't. It never does. But it happened. And we need to understand that part of the story is done. He chose to do that. Now we're going to figure out what's going to happen. So as far as him getting Dp'd, getting jumped on, getting beat up behind that, no. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be all crimson and clover for Manny wise. You know, that doesn't mean that his arrogant attitude and the way he acted is not going to get him caught up, because the way he acted outside of them prison walls and county jail walls, especially on Fremont Street, disrespecting people and aggravating people and thinking that he had that shit sewed up. Well, that ain't gonna work, homie. That is not gonna work in a jail setting. Let me tell you, that attitude is not. Now, let me get to the little bit of the racial aspect of it. One guy gets at me. He's a brother, right? Shout out to him. He knows who he is. And he was like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? That Mexican, he had no right to touch black folks like that, whether they disrespected him or not. And I'm here to tell you, homie, he had no right to touch any folks. Don't matter if they're black, brown, green, yellow, white, pink. He had no right to touch anybody. No one does, but they do, right? You don't have the right to do it, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just because you ain't got a license don't mean you don't ride dirty. As long as you got keys jingling and a fucking car ready, there's air and opportunity and a whole lot of pavement that they fucking just laid the night before. Like, you can do what you want to do, but it doesn't make it right. But instead of making it a racial thing and saying, he was a Mexican and he couldn't touch a black. And I'm sorry to tell you, bro, there's a lot of Mexicans kill blacks, a lot of blacks that kill Mexicans. But we want to know here. You want me to give you a little inkling, a clue? There's a lot more blacks that killed blacks and a lot more Mexicans that killed Mexicans than anything in this world. Tap in. Do your history. Do your research, right? Ask King Von how many Mexicans he killed. Oh, he can't tell you because a brother killed them. I'll say this right here, right? It's not going to be a racial thing. All the blacks aren't going to be trying to jump on Manny in there behind him killing 2 black people. There might be some politically charged people in there that feel some type of way. But being that Manny is Mexican, he's going to gravitate towards the Mexican gente, which means that is Mexican business, which means also as long as Manny has a good charge and he's in good standings and he hasn't told on anyone, which in this situation, you know, I don't know his history in his past, if he has some icky, tricky shit going on in Salinas and that's why he moved. Don't know, right? You never know a person until you meet a person and you really know a person. But as of right now, he's in good standings, meaning he's kicking it with the raza, the gente. And there's no way they're going to let anyone of another ethnicity push up on him or run up on him without, you fight one bean, you got to fight the whole burrito. That's just how it's going to go down. Okay, so will Manny be jumped on by the blacks? Are they waiting for him? Wes Watson has more action at getting jumped up on by the blacks in Florida than Manny does in Nevada. Okay, it's not a bad case. It's a horrible case, but it's not bad charges. He doesn't have anything on his jacket for him to get Dp'd. The Mexicans are not going to be like, oh, bro, you shot a man and a woman, you're leva. They don't care about that. They don't care. They're going to be like, hey, what happened? Why'd you kill those Africanos? Exactly what they're going to say. I thought they were disrespecting me. Psh, que pues, whatever. You know, the brothers are in there for several shootings. So whoever got hit, got hit. You know what I mean? So that's how that goes. So for those that are asking, is he going to get Dp'd in prison behind them charges? No. Now, that doesn't mean that he might not go in there with a big-ass mouth and be an asshole and get beat up, stabbed, and all kinds of other shit, because that's what happens. But as far as it being racially charged and the black's going to be tripping on him, nope. Right? And as far as fucking Manny going in there and it being a bad case, nope. It's not. Murder is not a bad case, like I said, unless it involves children. It involves someone who couldn't defend themselves. Now, in this case, yes, they didn't have guns. I know what you guys are going to say. They couldn't defend themselves. These were two grown people, man, and it just was a twisted detail of the story, a small detail. Of course, not that it didn't matter, because the murder is what got us here in the first place, right? But you guys got to understand, with Manny, he's got a lot more to worry about right now than getting jumped or beat up. Usually when that shit happens, man, it ain't even that serious. They take you to the fucking infirmary, check you if you got beat up real bad, to the hole, right back to your cell. It's not bad. Okay, but there's people that literally want him to get hurt and beat up. Two wrongs don't make a right. We have two people, Finney the Legend and Bubbly, that are unalive. They are dead. They are not coming back, unfortunately. Two beautiful people. Two people who had a future. But two people that also contributed to their demise. Let's not forget that. Let's not pick and choose sides. Let's not be all on Manny's fucking chorra. Let's not fucking be all on Finney's chorra. At the end of the day, these two groups of people, Julie, Manny, Bubbly, Finney, they went back and forth. I don't care who started it. It's like my kids, right? He started. I don't give a fuck who started it. Both of you guys shut the fuck up, right? I'm not trying to hear it, right? Am I right? Is that how the parenting goes in the household? I don't care who starts being a rata. I don't care who started it. I just don't want to hear it because I'm trying to do my thing. I don't care who started this. The story is not who started this. The story is not who was right and wrong. A man and a woman lost their lives. That's wrong. A man took it upon himself to go hunting with a fucking firearm to look for two people. Okay? There's a lot more to this story than all that. And we're going to get to it. Stay tuned as I continue to keep you updated and I continue to keep you abreast of this Vegas shooting, because we're not going to stop till the wheels drop, right? And right now, I'm riding on Daytonas. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. I got bangers giving bangers, piggyback rides on both my channels. Make sure you guys tap in. If you're new from that Vegas area, man, and you're tapping in because of this, watch all my other content. You might enjoy it. This is the gun. To all the gente that's been supporting, bang, bang. Can I end this? I said, can I end this?